A very good evening to all our viewers. This is News First for the People and welcome to tonight's edition of Primetime News coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Lanka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Sri Lankan cricketer Danushka Gunatilaka arrested in Australia.
නමුත් ඔහු සැකකාරුවෙක් පමණයි තාම. ඒ හින්දා නඩුවේ තීන්දුව අනුව තමයි ඔහුගේ ක්‍රිකට් පිළිබඳ අනාගතය තීරණය වන්නේ.
Victoria Dam spill gates opened. Randanigala and Rantabe spill gates could be opened in the coming hours. People living in low-lying areas of Mahavali River urged to be vigilant. President Ranil Wickremesinghe meets UN Secretary General. Extraordinary Gazette issued placing 4 ministries under the President. Destroyed D.A. Rajapaksa statue in Tangol unveiled again. Litro gas prices increased. South Africa knocked out India and Pakistan progressed to semis.
And now the stories in detail. Sri Lankan international cricketer Danushka Gunatilaka has been charged with the alleged sexual assault of a woman in Sydney, Australia. Sri Lanka Cricket confirmed that it was notified by the ICC that the left-hand batter had been arrested, adding that Gunatilaka is due to appear in court on Monday. SLC added it will closely monitor the proceedings in court and in consultation with the ICC will expeditiously initiate a thorough inquiry into the matter and take stern action against the player if found guilty.
31-year-old Danushka Gunatilaka was arrested at about 1 a.m. on Sunday according to foreign media after a 29-year-old woman made a complaint to the police last week. New South Wales police said the cricketer and 29-year-old woman first made contact via a dating app last weekend. According to Australian media, the app used was Tinder. In Tinder, users swipe right to like or swipe left to dislike other users' profiles. Tinder uses a double opt-in system where both users must like each other before they can exchange messages. Users are unable to search for specific people. The app uses a built-in algorithm which suggests matches based on your preferences and the region. It's not known if Gunatilaka used his real name. Police said after a series of texts and calls, they met for a date on Wednesday, the 2nd of November, before going back to the woman's home in Rose Bay. It is alleged Gunatilaka assaulted her multiple times over a period of several hours. Detectives launched an investigation on Saturday after reports of the alleged assault, and early on Sunday morning, Gunatilaka was arrested at his hotel on Sussex Street in Sydney's city centre. He was charged with 4 counts of sexual intercourse without consent and refused bail to appear at the Parramatta Bail Court on Sunday. He is due to appear at Waverley Local Court on Monday. Veteran lawyer Ananda Amaranath appeared for Danushka Gunatilaka this morning at the Sydney Magistrates Court. A bail application was presented, but the bail application was rejected by one of the magistrates. He will appear before the Sydney Magistrate Court again. We believe that he will be granted bail. His passport has been seized. He cannot leave the country. He will be granted bail, but he will have to remain in Australia until the case is over. He is still only a suspect. His cricketing future will depend on the court's decision. All these decisions hang on the court's decision.
නමුත් ඔහු සැකකාරුවෙක් පමණයි තාම. ඒ හින්දා නඩුවේ තීන්දුව අනුව තමයි ඔහුගේ ක්‍රිකට් පිළිබඳ අනාගතය තීරණය වන්නේ. අධිකරණයේදී වෙන තීන්දුව මත මේ සියල්ල තීරණය දෝලණය වෙනවා.
Gunatilaka was staying with the Sri Lankan T20 cricket team at a hotel on Sussex Street in Sydney CBD. The rest of the squad flew home on Sunday morning and are scheduled to arrive back in Sri Lanka on Monday morning. Speaking to reporters, Detective Superintendent Jane Doherty from the Child Abuse and Sex Crime Squad said on Sunday the accused was being supported by the Sri Lankan consulate. Doherty said the woman took steps to ensure her safety, including communicating with the man for several days online before meeting in person and going for a date in a public place. She added Gunatilaka's late-night arrest was not influenced by the Sri Lankan team's imminent departure from Sydney after being knocked out of the tournament. The left-hander last played for Sri Lanka on October 16. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Cricket in a second statement issued a clarification stating that despite being replaced midway through the T20 World Cup due to injury, Gunatilaka was retained in the squad as a standby player. Sri Lanka Cricket says the decision was taken by the team management in consultation with the doctors and selectors, as Gunatilaka was fast recovering from the injury he suffered. Hence, Sri Lanka Cricket says it was decided to keep the player with the team, as he had already acclimatized to the climatic conditions in Australia and can continue to train with the squad, with a view to immediately drafting him back into the 50-man squad should the need arise. Gunatilaka has played 8 test matches, 47 one-day internationals and 46 T20 international games for Sri Lanka. He is no stranger to controversy. In July 2018, Sri Lanka Cricket handed him a 6-match suspension for breaching its code of conduct regulations. Then in July 2021, Sri Lanka Cricket imposed bans on Gunatilaka, Kusal Mendis and Niroshan Dikwella for breaching the COVID bio bubble last year during their tour of England in June. Sri Lanka Cricket subsequently lifted the ban early this year.
News First, main sponsor.
25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD. A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD. 25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD, the symbol of stability.
Ivan Satutin inne wiring karala. Wiring kirwe is non polycon yodala.
For your safety and the protection of the wires used in networking and AC wiring, Eslon Polycon cable trunking.
Lovatama Elia denna dilena Surya. Amataka vinnema nati namake Surya. Mohotin dalvena gini kura Surya. Kavadat namagat gini petti Surya. Kavadat namagat gini petti Surya. Kavadat kotanat samage vishwase dinagat. Anko ege arakshita iti gini petti. Surya gini petti.
Ivan Satutin inne wiring karala. Wiring kirwe is non polycon yodala.
For your safety and the protection of the wires used in networking and AC wiring, Eslon Polycon cable trunking.
You're with News First. The Department of Meteorology predicts that thunder showers will occur over most parts of Sri Lanka tonight. The persistent heavy showers being experienced over parts of the country has tragically claimed another life, and this time a child. 3 others were also injured.
A 10-year-old girl died after drowning in the Vedamulla estate in Kodmale. Police said she had drowned when trying to cross the Hamilton Canal. She was carrying tea for her parents who were in a vegetable garden at the time. 2 people were injured in Suluhampula Kandy when a mound of earth collapsed onto their house. The mound of earth had collapsed into the bedroom in which Suboda's mother and 2 sisters were sleeping. Although Suboda had cried out for help, the neighbors were unable to hear her due to the heavy downpour at the time. A daring young Suboda then decided to take matters into her own hands, bravely rescuing her mother and her 5-year-old sister from under the debris.
I saw the wall cracking. I then called out for help. Then a mound of earth collapsed onto my mother and sister, but nobody heard me. Initially, I couldn't find my sister. I moved away the rocks and sand on my mother and got her out first. Then I started looking for my sister. That was when I saw her hand. I managed to somehow pull my sister out. My grandmother then came to the house. My sister couldn't even walk.
Suboda's injured mother and sister are currently receiving treatment at the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital. Meantime, in a separate incident, another person was injured when a mound of earth had collapsed in Suluhampula Kandy. There are risks of landslide for several houses in Haliyala due to heavy showers in the area. A mound of earth had collapsed onto a house in Kattawela in Bandarawela. No one was injured in the incident. Landslide warnings issued for the Kandy, Badulla, Kegol, Kurunegala, Matale, Munaragala and Nuvareliya districts are still in effect. Sluice gates of several reservoirs were also opened due to heavy rains. 4 sluice gates of the Mahaveli Dam and Polgolla Dam have been opened since this morning. People living in low-lying areas of the Mahaveli River were advised to take adequate precautions as the sluice gates of Victoria and Ranthambore reservoirs were to be opened. Executive Engineer of the Ranthambore Dam, D.M. Dharmadasa, warned that water levels may rise.
The 55th D.A. Rajapaksa Memorial was held in Tangol on Sunday under the leadership of the former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
A group including Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and Speaker Mahinda Yapa Abewardena joined the event, which was held near the D.A. Rajapaksa statue located in Tangol.
It is a great honor to be able to hold this annual celebration today. In recent years, there were people in this country who completely rejected this and brought this statue to the ground. No matter what problems prevailed, no matter the shortcomings of even the youth, we do not live in a country where mothers and fathers are harassed.
As Sri Lanka's economic crisis continues to take its toll, many are struggling to make ends meet. Now this is a story of one such family.
This is W.M. Kapila Kumara and his family in Pallemalala, Hambantota. Through many hardships, Kapila would cut firewood to earn a living and feed his 2 daughters and wife until he suddenly fell ill. Unfortunately, after undergoing a number of surgeries, he is now unable to work. Kapila's wife, Ishara Sanamali, has been struggling to earn a living to take care of her ill husband and 2 daughters.
දෙන්න කෙනෙකුත් නැහැ මොනවා හරි සම්බලකුයි බතුකුයි හදාගෙන තමයි කාලා ඉන්නේ. දවල්ට ඊගොඩින් බෑට කන්නේ මොනවද කියලා තමයි කල්පනා කරන්නේ. මහත්තයාගේ තියෙන රෙඩෙත් එක්ක මහත්තයාට දෙන්න හොඳ ආහාර වේලක්වත් අපිට නැහැ දෙන්න.
Ishara's only hope is a better tomorrow for her family. The current state of the agriculture sector is one of the main reasons for the deteriorating food security in the country. Shouldn't necessary measures be taken to protect the agriculture sector? Farmers in Ampara have begun cultivating their fields for the Maha season. These farmers say paddy seeds must be sowed by the 5th or 6th of November. According to them, if not, they will be unable to protect the paddy fields from wild elephants. We are not getting the required output due to the fertilizer issue. If we get fertilizer now, it would be better. Even though different proposals are being made to rebuild the agriculture sector, farmers are yet to experience any progress. They are still in the same situation. We are helpless. Farmers from Nachadua Anuradhapura receive water for their cultivation on the 25th of November from the Nachadua reservoir. However, this is the situation as of now.
We are unable to start cultivations because there is no fertilizer. We also find it difficult to purchase fuel. It's expensive. 14 kilograms of fertilizer is not enough for an acre. We need at least 30 to 35 kilograms of fertilizer per acre.
The farmers say it is crucial to provide fertilizer to farmers in a timely manner, especially at a time when the country is facing a risk of food security.
News First with the people.
Litro Gas Company announced that the prices of domestic gas cylinders will increase from today.
As per the price formula introduced by Litro Gas Company and the Consumer Affairs Authority, the prices of gas cylinders will increase today.
The pricing of a 12.5 kilogram according to the pricing formula newly introduced should be increased by 210 rupees. However, as Litro has been operating steadily, the company has decided to increase the price of a 12.5 kilogram cylinder only by Rs 80 rupees. and also 5 kg cylinder by Rs 30 rupees and 2.3 kg by Rs 15 rupees.
The price of a 12.5 kilogram gas cylinder was increased from 4,280 rupees to 4,360 rupees. The price for 5 kilogram cylinder was increased from 1,720 rupees to 1,750 rupees. The price of a 2.3 kilogram gas cylinder was increased from 800 rupees to 815 rupees.
Long queues were seen this morning at the Sipetco filling station in Badegama near the entrance to the Southern Expressway. Despite the use of the QR code system for the past several days, people in many areas were seen waiting in queues to purchase fuel. According to the Energy Minister, there is no shortage of fuel in the country. Fuel Distribution Association said the situation will be resolved within the next 2 days. In the meantime, trade unions made a revelation today regarding a daily demurrage payment of $150,000 made to a fuel tanker.
Trade unions point out a ship carrying 99,000 metric tons of crude oil is currently anchored in close proximity to the port. The Venetsky Prospect ship left the Kozmino port in Russia on the 1st of September and reached Sri Lanka on the 20th. Petroleum trade unions say $150,000 is needed to be paid daily as demurrage. They added that so far none of the payments have been made. Samagi Janabalawegiya parliamentarian Mujibur Rahman says although inquiries regarding fuel purchases and the demurrage charges were made from the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation via the Right to Information Act, the CPC refuses to provide the relevant information.
Another loss is being incurred. A demurrage charge of 2.5 billion is to be paid to the crude oil ship that has been anchoring close to the port for the past 50 days. Who is responsible for this? We requested the number of ships and demurrage charges that need to be paid between December 2019 and August 2022. We also asked for the order details and prices of fuel purchased from January 2022. They said as per the provisions, they are unable to provide that information. The government is concealing information to cover up their fraud. There is no medicine in hospitals. Hungry children are fainting in schools. Monies that should be spent on these more important issues are being wasted on demurrage charges.
State Minister of Finance Shahan Semasinga says Sri Lanka's second round of discussions with creditors concluded successfully.
State Minister Shrihan Semasinga said legal advisors, financial advisors and major creditors including China, India and Japan joined the discussions. The State Minister added that Sri Lanka has agreed to deal with all creditors in a transparent manner. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka and the Ministry of Finance have communicated that they will work with creditors to provide them with the necessary information and clarifications. The State Finance Minister said that the IMF Board of Directors will grant its approval as soon as Sri Lanka obtains assurance from its creditors. Meanwhile, the Maubima Democratic Party representing the Tamil diaspora says that they are ready to supply dollars to the country.
We are all talking about the IMF. This is a waste of time. In the past, they used to say there is no fuel. There is a fuel ship now, but they can't pay for it. Speak with us. We will provide the dollars you need. We can do that. Why aren't they getting our assistance?
This is the latest with regard to the medicine shortage and issues surrounding Sri Lanka's health sector. The Government Medical Officers Association warns that expecting loans from India to resolve the crisis will plunge the country deeper into crisis.
The medicine crisis has begun to affect the country more seriously. The shortages have reached a point where the OPDs are paralyzed in some hospitals. The authorities say the Indian credit line will provide Sri Lanka with $200 million worth of drugs and are therefore confident that the problem will be resolved in the near future. But we warn them that Sri Lanka will fall into a deeper crisis if we put our confidence in things that are out of our control. As far as we know, there is no guarantee that we will receive the ordered stocks of medicine under these credit lines because it's not the government of India but Indian pharmaceutical companies that conduct the transactions. The Health Professionals Association objected against the crackdown on professionals who disclosed information about the crisis being experienced in the health sector. The Ministry of Health is trying to silence the statements made by influential union leaders in the health service by initiating investigations into these matters and placing them under some pressure. This is a pathetic and undemocratic act. This statement was not made by Chamal Sanjeeva alone. In Gaul, 25,000 families do not have food and 805 children are severely malnourished. Who says this? The district secretary. Next, a Peradeniya University survey says that half of the population is below the poverty line. Survey says 5.7 million people in Sri Lanka are in need of humanitarian assistance. But they say that the officials who published this report should be arrested and suspended from work. The Health Minister Keheliya Rambukwella says malnutrition in the country has increased. Then suspend him too. Will the malnutrition in the country drop by doing so? This is done with the ulterior motive to provoke healthcare professionals.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe issued an extraordinary gazette placing 4 ministries under his purview. The move was made after consulting Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena.
The Ministries of Finance, Technology, Investment Promotion, Women's Affairs and Social Empowerment will remain under the President. President Wickremesinghe, who was sworn in as the 8th Executive President of Sri Lanka on the 21st of July 2022, assumed responsibilities of these ministerial portfolios as per the Constitution of Sri Lanka.
President Wickremesinghe left for Egypt this morning to attend the 27th Climate Change Conference in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe met with Secretary General of the United Nations Antonio Guterres on the sidelines of the COP27 Climate Change Conference. According to the President's Media Division, President Wickremesinghe briefed Guterres on Sri Lanka's plan on the national environment policy. The head of state is also scheduled to address the summit. The UN's annual Climate Change Summit opened on Sunday with the host Egypt, billing it as the world's watershed moment on climate action. More than 120 world leaders are set to be at Sharm el-Sheikh, and about 30,000 people will attend the 2-week summit. Notable absentees include Russia's President Vladimir Putin and China's President Xi Jinping. Britain's new Prime Minister Rishi Sunak made headlines when he said he would stay away from COP27 to focus on pressing domestic challenges. He has since made a U-turn and confirmed he will attend, while Britain's King Charles III will be missing the event. World leaders will speak on Monday and Tuesday, and once they depart, conference delegates get down to the business of negotiation.
A protest was held at the Liberty Roundabout in Kolpiti on Sunday.
The protesters demanded the government to stabilize the economy by implementing economic reforms.
A backbench business committee debate on the UK's response to the human rights and economic situation in Sri Lanka is scheduled for Wednesday, the 9th of November in the House of Commons chamber. The backbench business committee gives opportunities to backbench members of the UK Parliament to bring forward debates of their choice.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa says some politicians are only capable of talking and acting.
Some are saying that they are unable to stand with us. I can understand why people who boast of a 74-year-long political history are unable to compete against us. When we provide 55 government hospitals with equipment and medicine worth 160.2 million rupees through the HUSMA project, and help the people of this country, they will find it difficult to compete with us. When we provide buses worth 189.2 million rupees to government schools through the Sakpala program, we can understand why they cannot compete with us. When we make the digital revolution a reality in Sri Lanka with the provision of computers worth 17.8 million rupees to 22 schools, we can fully understand why they cannot stand against us. This is because they are incapable and we are capable. The only thing that they are capable of doing is talking and acting.
The SJB's Balamandala meeting in Kalaweva was held yesterday under the patronage of opposition leader Sajith Premadasa.
National People's Power leader Anurukumar Dissanayake says people are longing for rulers they can trust.
Everyone is asking for a change. Is this the first time? Haven't changes been made before? Mahinda Rajapaksa signed the nominations after washing his hands in a paddy field, promising a change. So did the citizen from Polonnaruwa and the biggest brain in Asia, Ranil Wickremesinghe. Both of them introduced a hybrid government, promising change. A change did not materialize. Gotabaya Rajapaksa was elected in 2019. Even Mahinda Rajapaksa said Gotabaya Rajapaksa cannot be messed with. Now the situation is worse. A change is required. The people took to the streets and removed him. Then they brought Ranil Wickremesinghe into the picture. Not the people. Then the people waited to give it a chance. But no change has taken place. The people of this country should not tolerate these rulers anymore. We have a fight. Remember that.
Well, time for a short commercial break. Stay with News First. We will be right back.
Ivan satutin inne wiring karala wiring kiruwe Eslon Polycon yodala Polycon enne Eslon niwasin hinda kipurama vishwasaya satuta petrila.
For your safety and the protection of the wires used in networking, electricity and AC wiring, Eslon Polycon cable trunking, suitable for white walls, prevent spread of fire, double lock technology. Ask for Eslon Polycon by name.
Welcome back. You're with News First. The Hindustan Times has reported a Shanghai-based ship by the name of Yuan Wang 6 is presently out in open seas south of Lombok Straits. The Indian-based newspaper has reported that the vessel is not slated to enter any Sri Lankan port.
According to the Hindustan Times, the Indian Navy is monitoring the movement of the Chinese satellite and ballistic missile tracking ship Yuan Wang 6 as a part of its maritime domain awareness. The ship entered the Indian Ocean region on the 4th of November via Lombok Straits, which is some 3,500 kilometers away from Port Blair.
The Gavel Conference Sri Lanka 2022, organized by the All-Island Gavel community, concluded in Veyangoda on Sunday.
Gavel Conference Sri Lanka 2022 was held on Saturday and Sunday under the theme Limitless Dreamers Together Towards Tomorrow. The two-day conference saw participation of school students and undergraduates from across the country. It included a competition to select the all-island best Gavel speaker. During the event, special activities were organized focusing on team building, leadership development and personality growth of the youth.
Gavel Conference is basically where people from all across our country come together, and these Gaveliers are undergraduates as well as school people. So they come together to be inspired and motivated by speeches as well as to come together as a community annually so that we can connect and we can improve ourselves as Gaveliers.
Mr. Shivan Daniel was the keynote speaker of the event on Saturday, and Captain Elmo Jayawardena was the keynote speaker on Sunday.
Moving on to news overseas, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has rejected allegations that he was involved in the assassination attempt on opposition leader Imran Khan. The statement comes as supporters of the former Prime Minister continue to protest, demanding an investigation into the shooting.
इंटीरियर मिनिस्टर पे लगाया.
I don't have the right to remain in office if there is any shred of evidence found regarding my involvement in this case. I will quit politics forever if it comes to that. Imran Khan is damaging the country with false and cheap conspiracies. I request the Honorable Chief Justice of Pakistan to form a full court commission, as there should be an immediate decision on this issue after a thorough investigation.
फिल फॉर मैं खत के जरिए आपसे मैं इन राइटिंग मैं आपको ये दरखास्त करूंगा.
Imran Khan was shot in the leg during an anti-government rally on Thursday. The cricketer turned politician has blamed Sharif, Interior Minister Rana Sahnullah and Top General of the Pakistan Army for attempting to assassinate him.
Protests in Iran continue despite a widening crackdown by authorities in the country.
Iranian students protested and shopkeepers went on strike despite a widening crackdown as demonstrations that flare over Mahsa Amini's death continued for the 50th day. Protests came as President Ibrahim Raisi said Iran's cities were safe and sound after earlier dismissing a pledge from the US President Joe Biden to free Iran. The country has been grappled by protests that erupted when Amini died in custody after her arrest for an alleged breach of the country's dress code for women. Iranian state TV reported that the continuing unrest came as Iran's powerful paramilitary Revolutionary Guard on Saturday launched a new satellite-carrying rocket. State TV said the Guard successfully launched the solid-fuel rocket it called Gaim. 100 satellite carriers and aired dramatic footage of the rocket blasting off from a desert launch pad into a cloudy sky. But the reports did not reveal the location.
Numerous vigils and rallies were staged around the South Korean capital city as public outrage over the worst tragedy to hit the country in a decade grew.
On the 29th of October, a fatal crowd crush took place during Halloween celebrations in Seoul nightlife zone, which left 196 people injured and killed 156 people, most of whom were young. After a week, the police and fire departments in the area were raided as a part of an investigation. The National Police Commander and President Yoon Suk-yeol both expressed regret and promised to put in place better crowd control procedures in the future. Activists and political organizations held at least 7 vigil protests across Seoul on Saturday, capitalizing on the fury. About 20 foreign nationals were among the deceased, including 27-year-old Munawar Mohammed, a resident of Kandy, Sri Lanka.
And in sports news, an impressive South African team rout-stood from the 2022 T20 World Cup today following an unexpected defeat at the hands of the Netherlands. The result means that Pakistan and India qualified for the semi-finals of the T20 World Cup.
The 2022 T20 World Cup Super 12 round matches ended today. The Netherlands pulled off an upset win against South Africa by 30 wickets in their 20. Steven Myberg scored 37 runs, Max O'Dowd 29. Colin Ackermann scored an unbeaten 41, chasing 159 runs to win. South Africa kept losing wickets at regular intervals. Skipper Themba Bavuma scored 20 runs. Riley Russo scored 25. Brendan Glover took 3 wickets. Fred Klaasen and Buster Leader took 2 wickets each. At the end of the 20 overs, South Africa could only manage 145 runs for the loss of 8 wickets. Following the defeat of South Africa, Pakistan and Bangladesh had a greater chance to advance to the semi-finals. Pakistan went on to secure their spot by winning the match against Bangladesh by 5 wickets in Adelaide. Batting first, Bangladesh scored 127 runs for 8 wickets. Opener Nazmul Hussain scored 54 runs. Bangladesh captain Shakib Al Hassan had a heated exchange with the umpire before returning to the pavilion after being given out LBW. Shaheen Shah Afridi took 4 wickets. In reply, Mohammad Rizwan and captain Babar Azam built a partnership of 54 runs for the first wicket. Azam scored 25 runs, Rizwan scored 32. Shan Masood took Pakistan to victory, scoring 24 of 14. Pakistan won the game in 18.1 overs, losing 5 wickets in the process. And the final Super 12 match involved India taking on Zimbabwe in Melbourne. India, who had 6 points in Group 2 before the start of the match, secured their place in the semi-finals. They won the toss, batted first and scored 186 for 5 in their 20 overs. Opener Lokesh Rahul and Virat Kohli put on 60 runs for the second wicket. Rahul scored 51. Suryakumar Yadav remained unbeaten on 61 of just 25 deliveries. Zimbabwe in turn were bowled out for 115 in 17.2 overs. Sikandar Raza scored 34. Ryan Burl scored 35. Ravichandran Ashwin took 3 wickets. India ended on top of Group 2 with 8 points. The first semi-final of the 2022 T20 World Cup between New Zealand and Pakistan will be held on the 9th in Sydney. This is followed by the second semi-final between England and India in Adelaide on the 10th of November.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. This is News First for the people. Good night.